You would think the Valkyries landed LeBron James with all the coverage Kate Martin has received, including from me. And it really just goes to show you the impact that Iowa team has had and will have going forward. Of course, Caitlin Clark was the face of it, is the face of it, is the face of the WNBA, is the face of women's basketball, is arguably the face of basketball and the face of sports right now in America. But that trickle down effect and what that team meant to people has clearly gone broader than that because it's not just Caitlin Clark. Obviously, the WNBA has seen a huge boom as a result. And then the people that were affiliated with that program and that program now going forward have seen a boom too. I mean, we've seen it with Kate Martin and how celebrated she has been since being selected by the Valkyries. She is now the face of the Golden State Valkyries, I think it's fair to say. And we see it in, how I think Iowa might be viewed as a program going forward. But you just go back and look at the jersey sales last year, and maybe this wasn't paid enough attention to at the time, right? Where people just didn't understand, I guess, what this really signified or the magnitude of what it was. Now, to be fair, when you look at like Asia Wilson, Kate Martin is ahead of her. Asia Wilson was already in the league, so people who had her apparel probably weren't buying new Asia Wilson stuff. I know a lot of the jokes about Asia seeing Kate pass her and then sending her to the bench. I don't believe any of that. Really, do I think that Asia was thrilled that Kate Martin outsold her? Maybe not, but I don't believe any of the conspiracy theories around it. Kate was playing more for the Aces earlier in the year, though. That is true, and then was relegated to a reserve role. But these things happen for different reasons. It is why I was a little surprised they didn't protect her, considering how many protections you get. But she clearly wasn't viewed as a part of their core. The three above Kate Martin are probably I don't even think probably are the three most popular players or most well-known players in the WNBA in my mind. And Asia would be the fourth in that group, but Kate Martin, at least from a notoriety standpoint for on-court ability, but Kate Martin is a needle mover in that sense. She's popular. Her fans feel an attachment to her. So when she goes to Golden State, you can expect that apparel to move because anyone who wants a Valkyries jersey, you're going to have the Kate Martin fans who buy it. You're going to have the Iowa fans who buy it. And then you're going to have the people who want to support the Valkyries who buy it because it's the only one you could probably feel comfortable necessarily about, not for any other reason other than I doubt that Kate Martin is going anywhere. That's the problem with buying jerseys in sports nowadays. I've bought my son a bunch of Brooklyn Nets jerseys, and every player winds up on a different team within a year. If you bought a Kate Martin Aces jersey, you're feeling the same way. But, to see the coverage around it and the reaction around it is a testament to the power of what that team meant for women's basketball and has meant for Iowa as a whole. Now, Jan Jensen, the current coach of Iowa, who was obviously on the staff before, says, "Hey, Hawk fans, we get another WNBA team to cheer for. Congrats, Kate Martin. New team, new dream. We're so happy for you and proud of you. Go Golden State Valkyries. Go Kate." And there you see Kate Martin, of course, taken by the Valkyries in the expansion draft. And I do think you will see Iowa fans just support them. I don't want to say blindly because it's not blind. They know why they're supporting them. But, Iowa fans are just going to, come out in droves to root for Golden State, especially because Kate's going to have what feels like a more defined role and a larger role on that team. Caitlin Clark also showed her support on her Instagram story. Let's go, Cater! With a message there as she shared the post about Kate going to the Valkyries. And it just seemed that Kate and everyone around her was enthused. And you understand why. No disrespect to the Aces. I know a lot of fans online just wanted to see her away from the Aces because they don't really like the Aces. But no disrespect for the Aces from any sort of like bias level. Just when you're looking at the playing time and the personnel on that team and the role that Kate Martin had and where she fell in the pecking order, it's a hard sell versus going to the Valkyries with a coach that she was familiar with, because of course the coach of the Valkyries was an assistant on the Aces. And Martin said in her interview, she would run through a wall for her. I think fans can like fully get on board with the idea of pulling for her and rooting for her and supporting her, full-fledged, because she is one of the faces, if not the face of that franchise now. And then the Iowa connection continues too, because Iowa women's basketball was in New York. They took in a Broadway show, it looks like, and Caitlin Clark cracked a joke at them there. I have a lot of thoughts on this photo, but geez, ladies, let's get in unison. And you see the Iowa women's basketball team getting some bigger recruits now. Obviously, the transfer, Lucy Olson, has come in and played well until she had like a deep knee laceration. But it's kind of amazing to see, because if you had thought about the history of women's basketball, UConn, Tennessee back then, and UConn was the program and has been the program and has produced the pros and the Olympians and the people that most have heard of. And then South Carolina too, Dawn Staley, give her credit for what she has built there. And I've seen it firsthand. South Carolina has a big fan base. They have a really big and ardent and supportive fan base. But for it to be Iowa, of all places, is kind of an amazing organic thing. It's not something that was manufactured. It's not something that was created. It's something that happened, right? It's something that happened. And Caitlin Clark, of course, is the center of it. She is the sun, if you will, and is the brightest star in the universe of that is women's basketball. But those other planets that went around the sun are pretty good too. Earth is a decent place to inhabit, and Kate Martin and those other planets and the other things in that sphere benefited from it too. And there's a certain likability to Kate. It'll be interesting to see though, like how she backs it up with her play. What can she do with a bigger role, with more responsibility, with more pressure, in a sense. And, the expectations aren't going to be high because they're an expansion franchise, and 6 players is actually a lot to protect. So no one's looking at their roster going, oh my God, I can't believe it. We'll see if some of the international players that they selected pan out, and how the draft works out and how free agency works out for them. I don't think the expectations are tremendously high, but for her, they'll be higher than they were, because it's no longer like she's Caitlin Clark's friend or former Iowa player. She's now Kate Martin, face of the Golden State Valkyries. And, you got a bunch of Iowa icons running around everywhere.